There are some stories that don't just sit in your mind, they settle in your chest like a heavy stone. Today, I'm not just telling you a case study, I'm telling you about a 17-year-old girl named Junko Furuta, who was forced to live through a nightmare that no human soul should ever know. On March 29, 1989, in Tokyo, a cold confession led the police to a construction site. There, they found a 55-gallon steel drum, sealed shut with concrete. When they cracked it open, they didn't just find a body. They found the remains of a girl who had been broken, burned, and discarded like trash. The autopsy was a map of unimaginable suffering, needles driven into her breasts, plastic bottles and iron rods forced inside her. And the most heartbreaking detail, she was carrying a life inside her when she died. Her face was so unrecognizable from the beatings that her family could only identify her by the lines on her fingertips. It's hard to even breathe while saying this, but this is the reality of what happened to Junko.
A dream girl's light snuffed out. Junko was the kind of daughter any parent would be proud of. She was hardworking, brilliant, and beautiful, the dream girl of her school. She worked late shifts at a factory, her hands tired, just to save money for a trip she would never take. But that light attracted the darkest shadows. Hiroshi Miyano, a boy consumed by his own ego, proposed to her. When Junko politely said no, he didn't see a human being with a choice. He saw a target. He decided that if she wouldn't belong to him, she wouldn't belong to this world. The trap of a daughter's love. On November 25, 1988, Junko was biking home, probably thinking about her family and her future. Suddenly, the wolves struck. They kicked her bike, watched her fall, and then played the hero to kidnap her. They broke her spirit with one single threat. If you run, we will kill your parents. To save the people she loved most, Junko surrendered her own life. She was held in a house where adults lived, parents who heard her cries, who saw her pain, but were too afraid of their own son's gang to stop the horror. They chose silence while a child was being torn apart in the next room. The depths of human cruelty. For 44 days, the sun never rose for Junko. Over 100 people participated in her torture. They starved her until she was a shadow, and when she begged for food, they forced her to eat live cockroaches and insects. They made her drink her own urine. The sheer humiliation, forcing her to perform graphic, dehumanizing acts on herself while they mocked her, is a stain on our entire species. They used pliers to tear at her body and pushed burning hot light bulbs inside her, leaving them there to shatter and burn. She was living in a hell that even the dead would fear, crawling through the dark. By December, Junko's legs were no longer hers. To punish her for trying to escape, they smashed her knees with heavy iron dumbbells. Imagine the sound of those bones breaking. She couldn't walk anymore. She had to crawl through the house like a wounded animal just to reach the bathroom. She would crawl to her captors, clutching their feet, weeping and begging, not for a meal or for freedom, but for mercy in the form of death. "Please, just kill me," she whispered. But they only answered with more fire, pouring hot wax and lighter fluid on her wounds just to watch her skin burn. The final breath and the echo of justice. On January 4th, 1989, after losing a gamble, Hiroshi took his final rage out on what was left of Junko. For 2 hours, he beat her until her tired, broken heart finally stopped beating. At 10 a.m., Junko was finally free. They sealed her in that drum, hoping to hide their sin forever. But the true tragedy? These monsters were treated as children by the law. They served their time and walked free. They got to have lives. But Junko stays 17 forever. A girl whose dreams were turned to stone, whose S cries for help still haunt the silence of the night.